innovations as it efforts to establish the identity as a cyber university by utilizing the most state-of-the-art technologies. The wave of digital disruptions has dramatically changed the views of many sectors. In response to this new and modern world, UT adapts and invests in new technologies, including web-based system, where registrations, learning material development, tutorial, and final examinations are conducted online. Online registration system is developed to enable students to register for the courses through various devices, such as computers and smartphones. Students are able to access digital learning materials in PDF and EPUB formats in UT Digital Library. Online tutorials are now available for all courses that interactions occurs asynchronously. UT also offers synchronous learning that enables real-time communications and collaborations, such as web-based tutoring, e-lecturing, and video conferencing. UT has implemented online final examinations conducted at regional offices utilizing VPN technology to connect different regional offices throughout the country to the examination center at the headquarters. In 2018, UT made a significant breakthrough by introducing online proctored examinations that allow students to take online examination at remote locations of their choice. UT is proud to offer open educational resources which we call Suaka Universitas Terbuka. It offers free online courses available for everyone around the globe at no additional cost. Suaka Universitas Terbuka offers UT TV on YouTube, UT Radio broadcast through the internet, online enrichment materials, digital library, Guru Pintar Online, a portal for teachers throughout Indonesia which allows them to access various information about teacher trainings, teaching and learning materials to improve their educational experiences. Suaka Universitas Terbuka provides massive open online courses or MOOCs. To enrich student learning experience, UT provides Dry Lab and e-seminar. Dry Lab enables students to perform practical work simulations with their computers. Meanwhile, e-seminar is dedicated to students who are required to present the results of their studies or research virtually. To obtain information about UT, communication channels are provided for students and general public, including Halo UT is to answer courteously inbound calls from students and public seeking information about UT. Digital marketing shares information through social media to connect with current and prospective students. To support e-learning, UT provides facilities to the students such as Wi-Fi ID, a free internet service for students using Wi-Fi hotspots in public locations provided by PT Telkom. Microsoft Office 365, free software for students to help them facilitate office documentation, communications, and management tasks. Sentra Layanan UT or SALUT is the extension of regional offices to bring services closer to the current students and prospective students. To ensure the quality in every single aspect, UT involves both domestic and international accreditation and quality assurance institutions, including the International Organization for Standardization, National Accreditation Board, and the International Council for Distance Education, ICDE.
We know that Universitas Terbuka share this commitment, providing world-class, accessible, higher education, and we're very proud to support you.
That Universitas Terbuka has assumed a leadership role in the field of open education resources, or OER.
The fast-growing demands of digital era motivates us to continue improving the potential of integrated human resources that are capable to support productivity. This vast and rapid development needs an effective and modern learning solution that can keep up with the routines of today's society. A facility that can cope with the limitations of space and time. For many people, both limitations pose as major problems in developing themselves and enhancing their career in digital era. In the end, those problems will impact their lifestyle. Universitas Terbuka is here to answer those problems by applying an open and distance learning system. A system that has proven effective in increasing the coverage and equal distribution of excellent higher education for all elements of society. Our learning system. Our system allows students to have a flexible and open learning method, and it offers many advantages. First one is the registration period, which is open throughout the year, so no more worry about late registration. Flexible space, time, and place. This is useful for students who still want to develop their knowledge wherever and whenever they want. Easily access printed and digital teaching materials in all corners of Indonesia and other countries. Our system gives opportunity to people from all groups and ages to learn and develop their knowledge, as well as their skills in all fields. With 39 regional offices all across Indonesia and overseas service centers, we are always ready to support operational activities and cooperations with various national and international institutions. We have numerous facilities to support student activities and learning process, from UT Radio, UT TV, learning assistance to online library. Universitas Terbuka offers you 4 credible faculties: Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Faculty of Law, Social and Political Sciences, Faculty of Economics, and Faculty of Science and Technology. With more than 35 study programs and postgraduate programs. Universitas Terbuka, making higher education open to all.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, hello, good morning, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 26th Knowledge Sharing Forum, or so-called KSF, conducted by Universitas Terbuka Indonesia. My name is Ayubi Chakradiwati, and I'm feeling most honored and excited for being your host today until the end of the webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, within the great spirit of commemoration of UT's 38th anniversary and the celebration of Indonesia's Independence Day, which was held yesterday, KSF UT is proud to bring up the topic of answering the challenges of open and distance education in the digital transformation era. First of all, we would like to extend a very warm welcome to our Honorable Rector of Universitas Terbuka Indonesia, Professor Ojat Darajat, our Honorable Moderator, Professor Daryono, the Head of Research and Innovation Center, Universitas Terbuka Indonesia, our excellent speakers, Dr. Rina Wozinga, the Chief Learning Officer of Reality. Thank you. And Professor Dr. Richardus Eko Indrajit, Director of Planeta University Indonesia. And of course, not forgetting our beloved participants who will going to lighten up our session today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you very much for dialing in today. We wish everyone is at their best health and are ready to catch more insights from our valuable sharing session today. Distinguished participants, before we start the program, please let me inform you our agenda today. So we will start by listening to the opening remarks by Director of UT, Professor Ojat Darajat. And going after that, we are going to discussion session, which will be led by Professor Daryono within the Q&A session. And of course, at the end of the day, we will have the closing session as well. And to start the first agenda, we will listen to the opening remarks by Director of Universitas Terbuka. But however, due to another important commitment, Professor Ojat cannot be here with us today. Therefore, we will have Dr. Rahmat Budiman, the Vice Rector for Institutional Development and Partnership of UT, representing him this morning. Dr. Rahmat, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ayu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A very good morning from Universitas Terbuka. Before we start, as Ayu mentioned just now, Professor Ojat Darajat has another important commitment, and he delivered his best warm regards to all speakers and all participants. And please allow me to read his remarks. Just before we get started, I would like to express my gratitude to all our speakers and moderator who also generously accepting our invitation. The first is Dr. Rina Wozinger, Chief Learning Officer at Ion Reality, Professor Dr. Ricardus Eko Indrajit, Rector of Pradita University, our moderator, Professor Daryono, M.A. Ph.D., Head of Research and Innovation Center of Universitas Terbuka, and Ayubi Chakradiwati from Universitas Terbuka, and also to all participants. On behalf of Universitas Terbuka, I would like to express my warmest gratitude for your participation in this webinar. It is my great pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to the 26th Knowledge Sharing Forum, Universitas Terbuka. Ladies and gentlemen, the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0 has a disruptive impact on all sectors of life, including the education sector. The main characteristic of education in this era is the use of digital technology in the teaching and learning process, or better known as the cyber system. This system changes the learning process from what previously had to be face-to-face between teachers and students into a learning process that can take place continuously without having to meet face-to-face in class. What is happening today is one of the many forms of digital transformation. Digital transformation is a change that the use of technology from analog to digital. The education sector is one sector that has adapted well to the rapid digital transformation that has occurred since the COVID-19 pandemic. In general, digital transformations in the field of education means digitizing the process and the product of educational services to improve the learning experiences for all parties involved. Cam Dilmegani and AI experts stating that digital transformation in the world of education currently focus on three things. First, accessibility. Through digital technology, students who are anywhere and with all socioeconomic status can access learning resources more easily and at affordable cost. Second, interactive learning. Thanks to technology and the availability of various applications, learning formats are becoming more interactive. Lastly, adaptive learning, where computer technology and artificial intelligence allow educational methods to be aligned with students' needs. Ladies and gentlemen, Universitas Terbuka, as a pioneer of open and distance education in Indonesia, along with the technological advances, has transformed into a cyber university. The transformation into a cyber university is part of our efforts to increase access to education as widely as possible for the community. As one of the efforts to accelerate the increase of the gross enrollment rate of higher education and to meet the various educational needs of the community, UT, or Universitas Terbuka, offer information technology-based program. Thus, this is era of digital transformation and technology transformation. The open and distance learning method that has been used by Universitas Terbuka must face the challenges of continuing to position itself as the pioneer of open and distance learning in Indonesia. To answer these challenges, relevant strategies are needed. Therefore, in the commemoration of Universitas Terbuka's 38th Dies Natalis, Universitas Terbuka recognizes the 26th series of knowledge sharing forum through virtual meeting with the topic answering the challenges of open and distance education in the digital transformation era. So I hope this webinar will facilitate a very constructive exchange of knowledge. I wish you all a most fruitful day with the interesting and stimulating discussion. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Dr. Rahmat, for your warm remarks this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, exactly like what Dr. Rahmat just mentioned, it's 2 years already since the enormous pandemic of COVID-19 has struck our lives, and we witness how many aspects have changed around. Particularly as most of us dwell in education sector, we have found out how this drastic change of teaching and learning system has gone into another level of digitalization, where the action of learning has shifted from face-to-face to virtual meeting. We also understand that every education stakeholders have done their best efforts and practices to keep their education going despite of this global difficulty. Yeah, at the same time, there might also be some parties who are still struggling so hard with this digital transformation in education. For that reason, it's the perfect moment for us to discuss all about this challenging situation together under the lead of our moderator, Professor Daryono. But wait, before that, there's a brief information of Professor Daryono we would like to share with you. So as you see on your screen now, if you don't know yet, Professor Daryono has been a permanent professor in the field of law in UT since 2014 and is currently also the head of Center for Research and Innovation of the Open and Distance Education of UT. He completed his Ph.D. from the Faculty of Law, Australian National University, and obtained Master of Art from the University of Victoria, Canada. Now, if we look up to his professional experiences, Professor Daryono was a member of the International Collaborative Research on Open Education Resources, we know as OER, funded by International Development Research Centre, Canada. He also joined International Collaborative Research on OER for Development, which also was funded by IDRC in 2014. Professor Daryono also took part in a working research group on sustainable agricultural land investment contracts funded by International Institute for Unification of Private Law in 2017. Oh well, but he did not stop there, because since 2020, he has been UT team leader for collaborative research, the BUCA project with 8 universities in Southeast Asia and Europe, of course, funded by European Union and Erasmus+. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I know you can't wait any longer. So without further ado, please welcome Professor Daryono. So handing over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Ayu, for introductions. Oh, it's a very complete introductions. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear
Excuse
me?
me, Pak Daryono, still mute, Pak.
It's still mute? Test now. Is it mute now? Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, IUB, for the introductions. It's very complete introductions. Okay. Very good morning to distinguished speakers, guests, and participants. It is my honor to convene the 26th webinar Knowledge Sharing Forums hosted by Universitas Terbuka Indonesia with the theme of answering the challenges of the open and distant educations in the digital transformation era. It is undeniable that the digital transformations affect almost all of human life, including the educations. Today's webinar is a showcases and a conceptual discourses on how the digital technology will make students learn best through the immersive learning environment in ODL practices. Two well-known speakers, Dr. Rena Wolsingers. Welcome, Dr. Rena Wolsingers from the Aeon Reality, and the Professor Dr. Eko Indrajit, the President of the Pendidikan University Indonesia, will deliver their speech that is quite fitted to the exposure of the best practices as well as a conceptual understandings about the open and distant educations now and beyond. I believe that the digital transformation is a game-changing for educations. But prior to the speech, I would like to inform you that the registered participant of today's webinar reached to about 350 participants, including the student, faculty members, educational practitioners from the Indonesia and overseas. My greatest gratitude to all of the participants on this webinar. The webinar consists of two sessions, speaker presentations and the QA sessions. Each speaker is allocated about 25 minutes presentations and followed by the QA session at the end of both speaker sessions. We do apologize for the restrictions of the camera and the voice access only for invited speakers. Participants may only post the question and comments in the chat room. Please write down your question and comment on the chat sessions, including your affiliated institutions, if any. And don't forget to mention to whom your questions is addressed. The committee is going to select the questions and comments and present it during the QA sessions. Don't forget, this webinar is also broadcasted lively through the UT channels on the YouTube. Committee, please could you mute? Hello, committee, could you mute please the other speaker? Yeah. So distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's begin with the first speaker, Dr. Rena Wolsingers from the Aeon Reality.
Ada banyak cerita.
Rena Wolsingers is the Chief Learning Officer at the Aeon Reality. She is a visionary leader with over 20 years of the experiences as an academic dean, department chair, and faculty members in the California community colleges. She holds a numerous copyrights and patents in a biomedical design, music, and film, and received a doctorate in higher education leadership from the California State University, Fullerton, focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusions in transfer policies for workforce educations. Dr. Wolsingers is passionate about advancing immersive visual tools to students and the faculty globally, as she believes this is a fundamental shift in knowledge transfer and education delivery that highly increases student engagement and bring equitable tools to everyone. Dr. Wolsingers, we allocate 25 minutes for your presentations. Please welcome Dr. Walsinghers.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I'm Dr. Rena Walsinger, I'm the Chief Learning Officer here at Eon Reality. I've spent a lifetime in technology. As you saw from my background, I'm a biomedical engineer. I spent many years in surgery, doing cardiovascular and cancer research. And I have been a professor for about 25 years as well. And at Eon Reality, my job is to spread the ideas in technology and move technology forward to help everybody access equal access to this type of technology. So I have an exciting presentation to share today. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Fantastic. So here at Eon Reality, we really believe knowledge is a human right, and everything we do is about that. And so I'm going to show you some things. One of the exciting things I get to do every day is make examples for faculty and work with institutions in over 100 countries. And this is just me across the street from my own house in a park, bringing a medical laboratory. And I'll show you some of this. This is augmented reality. And I'm just going to start with an example, and then I'm going to show you how this came from. This is actually a real airline pilot just talking about training. This is, you're going to see this is brand new technology where you can bring multiple assets into an environment.
We see the Sahara TDM 930 single engine turboprop aircraft. Regular maintenance needs to be performed on this aircraft by certified aviation technicians to keep it in running order. Some of these items include annual inspection, oil changes, and service bulletin compliance or airworthiness directive compliance.
So within this application, this example, we see some things that I had trouble doing, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, is how do I explain things that are 3D and 2D? So one of the things I teach is film and television. I have to teach things like how to use complicated equipment. And here's a way now in 3D where you can teach how to fly an airplane, how to go in a cockpit, how to learn about the equipment. You can bring industry experts into that, which I did here. That was a real pilot that we actually just did this weekend. Bring all the knowledge and information into that same area so that you don't have to leave the environment. So there's a lot of new technology here that you are seeing that just came about this year. That's one of the fun things in this job. The avatar is whatever language you speak, it will mimic the mouth movements. And so that's real live motion capture. If I wanted that person, that avatar to perform tasks, I can record him or her doing tasks. It could be anything from physical therapy, surgery, welding, I mean, you name it. So that's brand new technology, those two things. Having multiple assets in an environment, it's easier for us teachers now to understand or recreate laboratories. Before this, you can bring in a model, but not multiple models in one environment for teaching. So this is new technology. And then just being able to have the assessments right into that environment. So, and I call this the minority report view. So very exciting. There's so much going on in here that, you know, I just wanted to stop and kind of show you some of that technology. So let's talk about the global knowledge metaverse. It's growing fast. I can tell you, I get calls from Facebook, Apple, Google on a regular basis. We are all working together, which is fantastic. We're sharing information so that we can bring this technology to the world faster. If you remember, applications like Netflix started with, I think it was videotape, and then it went to CDs, and then it went to streaming. But in order to grow Netflix, they had to allow people to create movies and get them on there. So now we're sharing technology between companies, things that I've just learned about in the last couple of years, geospatial tagging, which is like if I put that airplane in that hangar, next time I open that from another country, it's still in the same place. We're sharing things like avatar and real-time motion capture. That's brand new technology in the last 6 months that's come to fruition. So it's growing pretty fast. So you can see in our life, since 2020, spurred by the pandemic, this is an exploding area.
Thank you very much for your time.
So, So there's some case studies, but this is one in a university called UBT, and just the usage has really grown. The different types of assets. One of the things for teachers that they're concerned about is, am I going to be able to find assets in my subject? Well, we partner with Sketchfab. Sketchfab is the world's leading library for assets. You can go on there today and look at assets. So they're about 5 million today, and it grows by several hundred every week. And most of it is free to the world. So you can scan things with the phone and add them in there. You can have 3D photography and add them in there. You can have drone photography and add them in there. So it's pretty limitless. So there are definitely a lot of content for every application. So why now? Why is this growing now? So there's a lot of investment. We're spending a lot more time online. We find that learning and transferring knowledge is more difficult. So we need better tools. We also need better tools to talk globally. The world is really shrinking. And so in order to teach certain subjects or share certain knowledge, it's easier with spatial meetings. You can meet around a model. I'll show you an example. You can change languages. So like our application, for example, I think so far has over 60 languages. The major companies are investing in new technology that makes this easier. Right now, the leading goggle makers are a little bit heavy in older technology, but in 2023, Apple and Google will release new augmented reality glasses. They should be pretty light and more affordable, and they address education finally, so that you don't have to log into something like Facebook in order to get into an account. They'll have education accounts for us to use. That is one of the things that teachers are insisting on. So the pandemic has really accelerated this. Again, the market is just exploding. So some of the things, I think the most important thing for me is, I'll show you this video.
We have conducted a study on virtual reality learning. We found learners in VR required less time to learn. They had higher emotional connection to the content, higher confidence, and were less distracted during the training.
So one of the things I know that we have trouble here, and it's pretty global, is student engagement and keeping up enrollment. Because as the new generation comes in, everybody is born with a phone and used to looking at technology. And now we have to adopt to kind of the next generation of learning. And so there's been many studies finding that this type of learning really increases student engagement, increases knowledge transfer and retention. It kind of reminds me of music. I'm a musician, and musicians have that same type of thinking where you might not know a language, but you can learn many songs in other languages because of that memory, that visual memory where you attach syllables to sound. So you use both sides of the brain. That's how my brain works. So our mission is to learn, train and perform, certify and collaborate. We don't want to do this in vacuum. We want the world to come together. So this relies heavily on artificial intelligence. In order to get information into any application in education technology, artificial intelligence helps you to recognize images, which is something that Google brought into the world. It lets you speak and bring in information from the internet. It lets you type and focus in on information. So with AI, let's say I had that picture on the top left there with the robotic arms. I could take an image of that, and then all kinds of information will be pulled with artificial intelligence. Videos, images, text, PDFs, research, manuals, all of that in about 1 to 2 seconds. It's very quick. Walking and talking. This is an idea that you can take an avatar, you saw that in the airplane, walk and talk and explain things. What I do with my students is I bring in industry experts from around the world in music and television and film to explain different scenarios around how to write films, how to do sets and things like that. there's always simulators. We can simulate a surgery, you can simulate welding, things like that. And then we find it very important to collaborate and share. So let me show you some examples of some of these things. And our focus is in different places. I would say there's really four. One is enterprise, and one is K-12. Our highest one is TVET or CTE. In the US, it's called Career and Technical Education, but that's what I teach in, subjects that require skills training. This is very hard to do online, but even at home doing homework, where you can be practicing with the tools from your lab. You can be doing this now in augmented and virtual reality, and then all of the higher education topics. So we have problems and solutions that we're working here in EdTech on. First problem is difficult to create and access XR. I can tell you when I started this maybe 10 years ago, it was all a lot of coding and programming and telling the computer what direction to move things on. And we've solved that with easy, free, code-free platform. So you can just drag in a file and all of the stuff is inside of it. It's a zip file. And you don't have to do any coding, and you can use your mouse or your finger or an Oculus paddles to move around. So code-free, that was the first solution. The use of AI so that you can talk or take images and then get all of the knowledge imported in there within a few seconds. Again, Google's been a leader in that area. Another problem, VR could lead to unhealthy escapism, meaning you could just disappear, play games, and not be productive. The solution merged XR. This is a solution around bringing in technology and combining real things with virtual things. Let me show you a quick example here. So here we use LiDAR scanning that's on your phone or your tablet with 3 cameras to make a digital twin of any object. And that is something used in industry right now. So once that's brought in, you can align the real object with the artificial object and then attach knowledge to it. So, and this is how industry is doing quality assurance. They're changing entire cities with this technology because you can take a drone and fly over the whole city. And then with IoT, Internet of Things devices, analyze where's the traffic? Where do I need to widen roads? Where do I need to move buildings? Where do I need hotels? Where do we need more water and irrigation? So this is what parts are breaking over what time. So digital twins is a huge change, and we can do digital twins here and teach students how to do that in the same platform because it imports models, including scans that you can align and then attach information to. So that's kind of a big change for students, especially. You probably have never heard of digital twins. So another problem, learning alone is not always optimal, but we have spatial meetings or teleporting. So you can bring in avatars, and the avatars are now the new technology. They can look like anything. It's almost like infinite versions of it because it starts with an image of you. You don't have to, but you can. So the images are fantastic. And as I said in the beginning, my doctorate has a lot to do with diversity, equity, inclusion. So I felt this was a critical element in change to have diverse avatars. So you can meet with anybody in the world anywhere together. And it's just by sharing a code and you can be in an environment together. And I think this is going to change even meetings like this where we can walk around and talk with each other and show each other things at spatial meetings. So the metaverse problem, building it, how do you do this? It's time consuming, programming, a lot of programming. There's, the avatars were very generic or like cartoons, and there was not a community around the metaverse. And now we have a metaverse builder. So for education, now this before has appeared kind of in a different version in games, But in education now we can talk and learn from each other. Let's take a look.
I use jet engines like this in a lot of my projects.
The engines and work. This is the currently selected item.
So you can bring in multiple objects and then work together on these. So metaverse building your own environment, putting all your assets in and walking with your avatars and saving all of that information without any code or kind of any computer science knowledge at all. It's just whatever you think of, you can drag in there.
Was a stretched
So it's easy, it's fast, it's smart. It takes about in less than a minute to create a whole metaverse with assets.
This is a lesson about jet engine to study how maintenance repair operation can be conducted.
A jet engine is a type of reaction engine discharging a fast-moving jet that generates thrust by jet propulsion combustion air-breathing jet engines.
So the artificial intelligence also helps teachers to more quickly create other assessments like quizzes, identify, locate, 3D assessments. And again, these are easily changeable into over 60 languages. So 3D assessments is kind of a newer concept where you can do step-by-step recordings of things.
Second step is this.
That way you can assess students on operations, order of procedures, assembly, disassembly, and record their steps right there in the platform. So that's a little bit about the metaverse. I think this is a really exciting product for teachers because now for teachers, sometimes it's hard to imagine how models will work. It's not hard to imagine building your lab. So where you're used to working. So, and then bringing in different models. It's really a game changer for me. So another quick example of walking, talking. This is just showing that you can take apart something and scale it and then learn about, like in this case, this will be a jet engine.
Hello. So today I will share with you how to build a metaverse by simply walking and talking using the new EO product. So let's get going. So first you click on Metaverse Builder. So you build by just simply walking and talking. Engine. You select from 5.1 million assets. In this case, the engine. I place it.
So that's how fast it is. So this is happening in real time by our CEO, Dan. Each thing takes about 2-3 seconds.
PDF audio is created. And there you go, the knowledge portal that allows you to expand, explore, and learn.
I'm Jake O'Neill, creator of Animagrass, and this is how a car engine works. Video transcript. All right.
Let's go over here, and then we saw the quizzes just for time. Let's skip ahead a little bit. And there, Dan is doing the same thing that we saw before, just taking apart pieces. And then again, you have the avatar 3D recording, and it's really just pressing a button and it remembers everything you say and moves.
Walking, talking, and instruction, step by step. You can have multiple assets. In this case, I added 3. And you can create.
So you can see how you can now teach things that were hard to teach online, or and also this aligns with OER. I'm one of the champions of OER as well. I've been doing that for, I don't know, maybe 12 years or so. So the information ends up here. I could have manuals, PDFs in here, information that used to be in a textbook. So any of the knowledge portals could have the information around this experience. The other thing about this that I love is that how students create these experiences using the Metaverse Builder. They think of different things than the teachers do and build really beautiful worlds, usually very creative, and they like to have games. So little games in there. So like, how well you do on learning things. And so that's something that I think we'll see a change in education next year, is adding some kind of elements with points and other things that students also create. And we'll probably be seeing globally, I think, contests for students to create information besides the teachers. That is a paradigm that I think is hard for us as teachers to understand, that letting students be project creators, not lesson creators, maybe project creators. So that's something I would look for in 2023 coming up. Right now, we create all the material, but as visual media becomes more prevalent, you'll see students hopping in here and creating as well. So these are some of the things, just to kind of review, talking about customized avatars. This is pretty exciting. So you take an image of your face, it comes up with best estimate, and then you can, through a partnership with Ready Player Me, who shares their information with everybody, you can customize almost anything on your avatar. And then what happens with this avatar is once it's brought in, it's already pre-rigged. So you don't have to know anything about it other than it'll just start moving. The new technology is if you do a video, let's say you're teaching soccer, for example, and you're kicking a goal, you can record that and drag it on your avatar, and your avatar will do the same thing with no programming at all. That's another brand new technology that will really change things that we can teach in a different way. So I really like this technology. I think it's definitely a game changer as well. Just showing some of the variations from Ready Player Me there. So one of the things for teachers is teachers don't have time, including myself, to kind of make all these lessons and learn a lot of stuff. So, this is important to make it as effortless as possible, use artificial intelligence and machine language in order to bring in information quickly and easily. One of the things I love about it is, zip files, you drag them in and it has all of the stuff inside of it. So we don't need to worry about coding files, orders of files, or anything like that. That there's a huge marketplace. And now with Sketchfab leading that, where's as you heard, there are over 5 million assets just there. And then just having an easily accessible playlist and things, kind of like Netflix, so you can find things that you like, find things that you've seen before. Meeting together with other people. Last thing is learning management system integration. So most schools use Moodle, Blackboard, or Canvas. So these are important to be able to just select what you want in that LMS, and it goes over to the platform. So it's very simple and easy. Another thing is open platform. This is something that a lot of people ask me about from different industries when I'm interviewed, is we've traditionally made, not we, but a lot of companies, like one application with like a goggles. So let's say I'm learning how to weld in goggles, or I'm learning how to do a procedure. But now, in order for students to really have accessible lessons, if you have it on different devices, including your phone, because most people have a phone. Most people do not have goggles and glasses and all of that. So these applications, I think, are important to work cross-platform. Eons works on just about everything. And it will work on Apple and new things coming out as well. But students will be doing these experiences on their phone and their computers. And in libraries or on campus, they will probably be doing those experiences with goggles or other things that might be harder to obtain.
Here we have our medical
Another example.
With reference posters in 2 languages, all our supplies, beakers and test tubes over there.
So this is another version. Instead of an avatar, there's a hand, but you can just do a quick recording, explain everything to your students. This is a similar experience, but in augmented reality. Now you can see the background is somebody's backyard. That's our designer at Ian Brock, and just showing all of his information there in augmented reality. I love augmented reality myself because you can make things really large, and it's more attractive to learn in that way. One of the things I've personally done is we are bringing education type searching into the platform. So going through all of different programs. I know every school has different programs, but trying to make a way to cross search so we can have a Netflix environment. But we definitely start with a framework like this that has education in mind, and then have suggested library that's editable by each institution with, if you're in photography, meta tags. So for example, if I wanted to see a hospital, I can look under medicine. It'll be cross-referenced in biology and other areas, nursing, so that you can easily search for things in the metaverse. So with that, let me stop my share. And I know there were some questions, so go to the chat and see what's going on here. Let's see.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. It's really on times, Dr. Wasingers. Thank you. It's a fantastic. With the technology, seems there is no longer any barrier related to language, and this is another important thing, that low-end technology, then the open platform to ensure the equity for everyone. So I think in the future, the immersive learning environment is a real game-changing for the education, digital educations, and it's become a necessity for all level educations to enhance students' learning outcome and success. The second speaker, Professor Eko Indrajit, is going to highlight the other side of how the digital distant educations manage the digital transformations in order to ensure the equity, access, and the quality. Professor Ricardus Eko Indrajit is one of the Indonesians well-known IT expert. I think anybody knows Professor Eko Indrajit. His name has been well acknowledged not only by academics and IT practitioners, but also by various professional organizations and the government offices in Indonesia. He is one of the distinctive, remarkable scholars with the various academic backgrounds, including computer science, business administrations, communications, and philosophy. He is also a holder of the 3 doctoral degrees consecutively in business administrations, educational technology, security, and defense studies. And for further information related to Professor Eko Indrajit, please visit his website, eco.id. And Professor Eko Indrajit's research interest is in the field of digital transformations and educations. Professor Eko Indrajit, I would like to give you 25 minutes for the presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Eko Indrajit.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Daryono. So, can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you so much. So, very good morning to all of you, especially my colleague, director of the Open University of Indonesia, and Pak Daryono. Thank you so much for the opportunity for me to be able to share about something that I think most of the people are asking me during the post-pandemic era, actually. So let me prepare my presentation. So I a little bit twisting my presentation into the title that related to the open education, which is Visioning the Distance Education in the Futures. How the information technology can shape the higher education ecosystem, or we call it as the transformation effort. This question is actually was asked by so many scholars because of the phenomena that we encountered during the pandemic and the COVID-19, and of course the advanced development of the technology for education, like the AR, the mixed reality, the blockchains, and other concepts that are on the stage of development. So what actually we can learn from the COVID-19 is the future came earlier than we thought. I think you all agree that most of the people before the COVID-19, when we talk about e-learning, we talk about ubiquitous learning. Many campuses, schools, they reject to adopt it. They reject to adopt it now because they think it is still far away from the needs. Yeah, they think Indonesia will embrace the e-learning in the 2040 massively. But look, when COVID came to the country, suddenly the whole institution in Indonesia, they have to embark on the e-learning journey. It told us that be careful, the future can come earlier than we thought, including the AR, the VR, the artificial intelligence, the IoT for the education. Some of the people today, Pak Daryono, still think that it is for the future, not for now. But learning from the pandemic, trust me, it will come earlier than we thought. So that's why I call it the phenomena as the disruption square, yeah, because before the pandemic we have a trend that everybody will going through that journey, but the pandemic accelerate the journey of the distance education. Pak Daryono, almost all campus right now become a distance education campus, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, this is a momentum for the Indonesian Open University as the best practice on the field of distance education to become a partner for all campuses and also the schools so that they can embark the transformation in the correct and right way. So what is actually the trend today? Look at this. Information technology to become the most important entities for the new ways of learning. Can you imagine what happened during the pandemic if there is no teleconference, no Zoom, no Microsoft Meet, no WebEx, no You Meet Me, all those kind of technology? Can we survive on the education sector? And then now, because of not all of Indonesian people, society, or learners prepare for that kind of technology, we like it or not, campus become the nexus, the center of the learning ecosystem. Because we cannot force all of the learners who are very diverse on the economic background, very diverse on the technology literacy, to adopt the situation quickly. So they rely on the campus capabilities and capacities. So in other words, we have to conduct our Tridharma in the ubiquitous way, anywhere, anytime, and anyhow. Not just including the teaching process, but also the research, the society contribution, and also in the industrial relationship, we have to conduct it through online. Even today, we know that we are not going back to the old days. We have to introduce the blended and hybrid system within our education system. So learning from the trend and the phenomena, I still remember last time we talked about the MOOC and the micro credential issue that's now become a common all over the world. Pak Daryono, I'm taking my 6th master degree in the University of the People right now, because I want to learn about what how they manage all of those things. So I become the student of the University of the People, and when I took 3 courses, I think those courses are fabulous. I mean, they conduct the instructional design so well. Yeah, I learned a lot. Even I'm that already finished my doctoral degree, learned a lot from this University of the People, where everything's conducted virtually. Yeah, it's become a new frontier, and I think many of the campuses will do the same thing. And I also attend another virtual university, Pak Daryono, for my Ph.D. Yeah? Because this university, they are using AI, yeah, big data, robotics, and machine learning inside the LMS, inside the learning management system. So I can have my laboratory online, I can do my simulation online, and not just me, but together with other learners all over the globe. So it's really, really interesting, and I think this trend will become a reality sooner or later in our country. So from those experience, if somebody asks me what are the critical success factors to make the transformation success, transformation is not just change, but transformation is the irreversible change. So I can see that 4 things, which is the people, the process, the technology, and the education content. And the people, from the people point of view, actually is not really the literacy, but all are depends on the mindset. The mindset of the stakeholders of the campus, of the university. If you have the old mindset to embrace the futures, I think you will have problems on that. Yeah, I give you the examples. There are so many professors give the assignment with the answers already provided in the internet. Yeah, they have to change. Yeah, they have to change the way they teach, the way they give assignments. Yeah, and this is all about the mindset. In the process of the learning process, I think we all have to learn about the cybergogy. Cybergogy is how to become the facilitator, how to become the teachers within the virtual or online ecosystem. And those are a totally different competency. It's not just moving the physical classroom into the virtual classroom. Yeah. The third one, of course, the technology itself. Yeah. Indonesia is very diverse, so we have to have an omni-channel. We have to have an omni-channel from the very simple one up to the sophisticated one. And the content actually represents the quality of the education itself. Yeah, the state-of-the-art content, the self-instructional materials, and etc. So those 4 things are the critical success factor if you want to be succeed in doing the journey. Now, if I ask the students, what constitutes as the good campus today? This is from my research result. The students say the richness and richness. Yeah. Richness means connectivities. Yeah, connectivities. Richness means the features of the education learning modes. Yeah. And then, of course, the richness and the richness can only be done if you have a network and resources. And through those infrastructure, you have to conduct the quality and good educations. And they will judge us whether we have a good quality or good performance if they enjoy what they call as the values and benefits. And this value and benefits is not just for today, but of course for the whole life. Now, what is actually the role of technology right now from time to time? I have to introduce this 5 model because in Indonesia, those 5 models still exist. There are still many universities in Indonesia who thinks the technology is just a supporter, Pak Daryono. Just a support. A business as usual, and okay, technology will help us on the administration things. Yeah, to make everything more, more easier and more controllable. That is the technology as the supporters. And the next one is the technology as a drivers. The technology can be told as a driver if the technology assists the university to facilitate effective learning and research for the better performance. So in this level, they are starting to use technology for the increasing the performance of the learning. The third one, the technology as an enabler, where the technology provides the university with engaging environment and learning and research ecosystem, more engaging. So before you cannot do this, but now you can do this because of the technology. Now, the technology as a transformer. This is the era of transformation, yeah, where we try to bring the university to the digital world, where time and space are no longer relevant. That is the transformers. And we know that learning is everywhere. The philosophy is lifelong learning. So it means with the technology, the time and the space are no longer relevant. What happened today and the future actually, technology as disruptor. This is the thing that everybody is very, very afraid, including the big university like Harvard, MIT, Stanford. They also are taking care these issues really carefully, because now using the university as people infrastructures. So university is not something that is very exclusive anymore, but this is embedded in people's life. So maybe someday, Pak Daryono, the terminology of higher education will disappear, because even primary school students can enjoy higher education earlier than it's supposed to be. Nobody can say no if a primary school or secondary school students want to learn something from the higher education. And actually, by the introduced by the assistance of YouTube, for example, right? It's really disrupt us how to conduct the higher education. So with those transformation, university as an institution also evolve. During my era, I consider university as a place to study, because I have to go to one place and I study there. But after I graduate, I see university become a services. From my notebook, I can learn from many universities at the same time. But can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that if the university is not just services, but university as a platform? Can you imagine if all professors in the world can easily embark on a global open university, and anybody in the world, regardless their age, their education background, they can tailor-make their curriculum as they wish from any professors all over the world through a single global platform. So things is going to be totally different. And the trends to go there actually is already starting now, from a very simple examples, practices in a different type of the words. By the end of the day, what will be in the open university, distance education, or other university have? They have to be able to offer the students with the personalized curriculum. Personalized curriculum is impossible to be delivered without the technology, of course, because we have limited resources. We have to have something, tools to help us to leverage those resources so every person can have a personalized curriculum. Why personalized curriculum is very important? Because every person has different dream, and every dream needs different path, and every path needs different strategy. We cannot go to the university to have what you call it as one fit for all dreams, right? So this is the trend of the future's open education system from my perspective. So why the university as a platform? Because all peoples are learners. And all learners need higher education environment as the first environment after being an adult. And contents are for education are produced and distributed digitally right now from thousands of credible institutions. And it's already in a digital format. Resources required to conduct higher learning activities that can be utilized seamlessly worldwide through sharing mode. Sharing is caring, right? And students have a freedom to control their own study plan. We cannot dictate the students anymore because when the students see YouTube, for example, can you imagine if we have YouTube special for higher education, Pak? As simple as YouTube, but for higher education from all over the globe. So students have a freedom to control and to tailor their curriculum. And self-independent learning become the new way, new cultures of learning. So to conclude my presentation, because we are in the academic environment, we can imagine the one of the extreme situation. How about if 5G broadband connection are spread evenly worldwide at very affordable prices? What happened with the education? What happened with the education if most of the learning content has been transferred into multimedia-based materials, even based on AR and VR, which are very interesting and motivating, like the first speakers just show us? I think things will be very different. How about if the Metaverse concept, dominated by the game and entertainment industry right now, has penetrated the education sector successfully? So, all of the things that I share is actually under development. It's not a dream. Some of them are really on the implementation stage on one part of the globe. Sooner or later, it will become our reality. An integrated virtual learning environment in which millions of campuses offer thousands of study programs to people all over the world. Students can freely arrange their personal curriculum across disciplines and across universities. And the model of interaction, communication, feedback, evaluation of the learning process runs in a very interesting and fun way because of the massive implementation of information technology. So I leave my presentation with multiple choice, Pak Daryono. Based on your personal understanding, ladies and gentlemen, who will win the battle of the future education? Number one, physical university which go fully online or fully virtual. Or the second, virtual university which establish their physical existence. Or physical universities which integrate with the virtual ecosystem. Or number four, virtual university which piggyback on other massive platforms that today already exists in the market. Be careful, all of the teachers, all of the primary schools, 50% of the students in America embark on the Roblox and Minecraft environment. 50%. Can you imagine if Roblox and Minecraft suddenly inside their metaverse, inside their ecosystem, suddenly they introduce us with a formal school? Can you imagine if Sony PlayStation, they introduce the new model, which is the university inside the Sony PlayStation? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if YouTube owner, you know who, right? Suddenly, they provide you with the Spatial University, or even Apple, or even Microsoft. They already have learners on their ecosystem. They already have traffic on their ecosystem. So, who will win the battle? I leave it up to you. Distance education of the future, Pak Daryono, campuses everywhere, but nowhere. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Prof. Eko. Very enlightening, very enlightenment for the future of university. Yes, I think I'm hoping you will give the answer about your the last questions related to who will survive, what type of university will survive. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very enlightening. We need to open a kind of Pandora's box of the open and distance education in the future. And we agree that there are great changes, as also mentioned earlier, related to how the university should and have to transform. And Prof. Eko Indrajit already mentioned about three-dimensional trend that need to be considered in practice and conceptual framework, including the MOOCs, University of the People, and emerging technology. AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, machine learning, and also often a small thing about the credential as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we come to the question and answer sessions, but I'm waiting for the committee to present the questions. Let's see. The question to Dr. Rena Holsingers, what the initial step do you recommend for us to start the knowledge metaverse with the challenges of the diverse background of students and limitation of the technology infrastructure in a rural area, especially in Indonesia and many parts of the global world?
Sure. So I have that situation already in some places. Like Palestine's a really great example. West Indies is a great example. All over Africa is another good example. So what those institutions are doing is once the government, it's usually a government level in those places where it's a top-down implementation where they will choose a platform and then it will roll out to the institutions that are part of the program in the country. So, and usually they start with usually the TVET workforce programs, medical programs, manufacturing programs are some of them. And what they do is most of their students have phones. Some of them may not have internet or phone. So they all make centers at a library. That's a very common practice. And in the library, one thing is it would be staffed. So students can come there and use technology like goggles or things that they wouldn't have. But they also make sure that students all get free licenses to use at home. And that would work on any laptop or any type of phone. And so they can do both with the library and at home. But it's always a challenge, even across the United States. There are many, the issue with TVET students in United States and CTE is those are the disadvantaged students. Those are the students that don't have internet at home. They might not have a phone. They might not even have time to do homework because they're working. So that population, what the schools are doing in LA is a good example. They have a lot of disadvantaged students, and they are definitely building a center for their students that could come in and do things at the center. They're buying like 30 goggles. They have faculty coaches and student staff working there. So that's how they're solving that. Most of the students do have phones, but some of them don't have internet. The other thing about these applications is they should work offline. That's one of the things we do is a teacher can create an experience and download it to just work offline so that students can still learn offline. So there's a lot of different choices. The final one is accessibility. So one of the things in technology you're going to find is students that are visually impaired, hearing impaired, physically impaired. In LA, what they're doing there is they still take images of everything and explain it so that all different types of students can learn, or somebody can just read it to them, even without the application. So it transfers over to students that have a disability. Even though our applications in EdTech need to be closed captioned and have the right colors and all of the accessibility things, that doesn't always work for everybody. So those are some of the kind of ways that we're dealing with challenges for the kind of diverse backgrounds and disadvantaged students.
Dr. Wolfsberger, just following the your statement about the equity, you mentioned about the open platform of the AR. Could you please tell me more about what is the open platform of the AR means?
So, so as far as you mean being accessible, free for all the students?
Yes, right.
Yeah. So those are usually government supported, grant supported programs where something that would be these businesses at the moment are not like games. Games are sold like to individual people. Right. These applications are usually supported through government grants and then rolled out free to all students and faculty. So that's what I meant by open. That's the models today.
Okay, right. Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. I think yes, the next question is coming for the Professor Eko Indrajit from Zulfina. The concept of the personalized curriculum that you mentioned is exciting. How do you see the possibility of the personalized curriculum in distant educations in the upcoming years, despite the education regulations and rules in Indonesia? Would be fit with the rule and regulation in Indonesia, Pak Eko? Prof. Eko?
Of course. If you look into our Undang-Undang Nomor 12 2012 ya about the perguruan tinggi ya, we know that the open education already said there, and including the e-learning, the sharing, the recognition of prior learning, etc. We have all the tools actually to implement the personalized curriculum. The issue is nobody wants to become the first mover, to become the pioneer to do that. Of course, to do the personalized curriculum, you have to have as many as possible of your courses becomes online courses, right? Because of virtual courses. And I think Open University is the only university of Indonesia where all of the courses are already online, ya, Pak, ya? It's just a matter of policy. It's just a matter of the internal policy of the university to do that. For examples, my experience when I was still studying in the United States is very simple. When I come to the university, for examples, yeah, I'm as the alumni of the high school. Okay, the first person that I will meet is the academic advisor. Correct, Pak Daryono?
Yeah, right.
And I will sit down with the academic advisor. Then my academic advisor will ask me, "What is your dream?" And I will tell my academic advisor my dream. I want to be this, and this. And according to that input, yeah, according to that explanation from me as the learners, the academic advisors will put all of those keywords into a system. And the system will come out with the recommended personal curriculum, which is the tailored of all of the courses existing within the campus. How about if there are some courses that Open University don't have, for example? You can take it from other universities, the partners of Open Universities of Indonesia. You can take it from the ITB, from UI, from many things, because you also have an ICE institute right inside. So you can take it from any other university in Indonesia. And can I, as a learner, do some kind of revision? Of course. I can do the revision of the baseline personalized curriculum given by my academic advisor. So actually it's easy, it's there, just a matter of are we going to be able to, or we brave enough to introduce it to the market or not. But the question is, if you want to conduct the personalized curriculum model, you have to ensure that every course that develop are really a self, what I call is consists of the self-instructional materials. Because if we don't have the courses based on the self-instructional materials means we still need physical resources. The student needs to talk to the lecturers. The student needs to interact with the professors. Now, personalized curriculum become an economic issue because you have to be able to provide as many resources as possible. And of course, you have to have also the time available for all of the teachers. So you can do it if all of the courses are developed under the self-instructional materials and distance education philosophy. That is my answer, Pak.
Yeah. So I think that the personalized curriculum would no longer a dreams. It could be implemented in Indonesia as well, and that's what the education for actually.
But you still remember Indonesia? We have an elective course.
The elective course, yes.
Elective course only the last 2 semesters, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Do the elective course as many as possible. That is a personalized curriculum.
Yes, exactly. So the preference for students.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Prof. Eko Indrajit. And the next question is to Dr. Wolsingers again. Thank you for from the AYUB, Universitas Terbuka Bandung. Dr. Rena, thank you for the interesting presentation you shared. I'm intrigued about your real-time subtitle during your presentation earlier. Could you please share what's up? What kind of the application that you use for it, and does it suit to both Mac and Windows operating system? Thank you.
Oh, good. That's an easier question. But I want to answer the last question too about personalized curriculum. That was something we studied in my doctoral program. Can I comment on that as well?
Yes,
I love that question. It's a great question. I happen to go to school in San Diego, UC San Diego, very liberal school built in the 1960s. And I found a college there that you can take areas of concentration anytime during your studies. It took me 5 years to complete this, but that way I could study philosophy and music along with engineering. So I did not have general education requirements at all. That's very unusual, but I went to that college because of that. People like me want to learn different unrelated things, but they're related, but not everybody sees that because they're different disciplines. So anyways, I think that's a critical thing for a lot of people to be able to kind of not design their own curriculum, maybe have more choices, or your major isn't, the entire 4 years. So I want to comment on that. That was a great question. So on this one, this is simple. I just use PowerPoint, but PowerPoint has a icon on the bottom, both for Mac and for PC, that is like a book. And that one, it's next to the presentation icon. It looks like an open book. When you hit that one, the captions come up automatically. So I got used to using it. I have a lot of clients that insist on captioning during meetings. So that's usually how I present, using PowerPoint with the reading function.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Wolsingers. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, definitely. I think the personalized curriculum is there will be one of the important educational transformation in the future. Yeah, and the questions to Professor Eko Indrajit, and thank you, Professor Wolsinger, for bringing the real experience in the US. It should be inspiring to all of us. Question to Professor Eko Indrajit from Hilmawan. One of the most significant challenges in the technology adaptation is that developing more content and system that can be very costly. And not even educational institute in Indonesia can hire a software development or software engineers company to help them to create the system and content. How do you answer the challenge? I think this question is for Professor Indrajit and also also Dr. Wolsingers, and Professor Eko first.
Okay. It's easy. The answer is sharing. That is, so why don't we share? Yeah, most of the campus think that they know everything and they have all the best. No, sharing is caring. That is the things that we have to do in education. But Daryono, most of the people forgot Internet was there. Internet is here for helping us. We have all of the benefits from the internet because we share, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Can you imagine if all of the people in the world just like to download and never upload anything? Nothing happens, right? Because we share, then we can leverage our resources. That's what I do with my universities. Yeah. That's what I do with other consortium in Indonesia. I established in an Aptikomuk ICE Institute. It's all about sharing. And from the technology point of view, you can also benefit from what I call as an education-based cloud. Cloud means you don't have to invest. Yeah, you can pay per view, you can pay per month, you can pay per usage. Yeah, even you can pay cloud in the sharing basis. Yeah, the cloud technology right now is not just the infrastructures, but also they provide you with the content as a services. Yeah, courses as a services, like I told you, university as a services. So you can start from from sharing, and the second one by using the cloud technology in the education sectors. So that is my question, my answer. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. That's
I have a different answer.
So, okay, Dr. Wosigers, please.
So this is based on my experience. I used to work at the chancellor's office at the state level in California. And my job there was to develop a database for the 100,000, I take it back, for the 2.1 million students in California in the community college system. So we developed it. But what I found out is there wasn't enough infrastructure to sustain the security and the updates of that data. I mean, it was data on the whole state, on workforce-related types of metrics. So we knew what to do. We got it funded. But what I find is you have to, in my opinion, and because I've been both in education and industry for most of my life, is you have to be careful when developing projects outside of your area of expertise. That project I was on would have been better to work with already AWS, like you mentioned, in the cloud, and not try to develop something from scratch. Because that upkeep and security is, it's just not possible to maintain that just inside of your own institution. But yes, I do agree. Sharing cloud-based services and security in the cloud and all those are definitely how to do things now. And sharing that, like software, different softwares between institutions, or even teaming up. That's something that I've done. Like somebody will have a system. One system in California is Pathways. It shows you like which things to take for certain careers, and they share it across the whole state, and everybody gets it for free. And so those are some of the things. But I just wanted to address it because I do think that you have to be careful when you dive into something that you can't sustain as far as your institution, kind of out of your. It kind of goes away from the teaching. So yeah.
Okay, Dr. Wosigers, I think thank you for your ideas about this one. I learned from the Aeon that your presentations that the Aeon provide a code free for educators and also for students. That's what's the code free means in your Aeon approach.
So it, like when I went to Eon, I did an externship as a professor. I had to learn how to code, like move everything this direction, that direction, the other direction, and everything was a code to rotate. Now it's just your finger, your mouse. You don't do it. You drag in a file, and it's the wrapper. There's two revolutions. One is the file type. It's called GLB or GLTF. So everything in there, it's like a zip file. You drag it in the program you import from Sketchfab, and magic happens. It's because of that type of the file type.
Yeah.
And then so that makes it in the background just the evolution of moving to mouse and finger functions. You don't need to code anything.
Okay.
No code. Yeah.
I think that's a very fantastic innovations, because coding sometimes is becoming a nightmare for the educators.
Yes.
And I think that's very good. Okay, I think following this question, and could you please another questions? Any other questions? Yeah, this is for a question for Dr. Wosigers. the AR, VR, and XR technology that you shared is exciting for students. However, we are aware that some of the challenges of online learning are the interactivity and maintaining students' enthusiasms. How do you think about this challenge?
Well, this is the strength of what this is. So the first thing, like in my classes, when I teach, for example, audio recording, I say, okay, go find this type of microphone and find out all the things about it. And it's something I couldn't do before because now they can see all the switches, they can see the size, they can take it in their house and put it next to a guitar. I mean, the enthusiasm and engagement goes up like 80% because you're doing things now that you couldn't do. Another example that I love is with Star Wars. So I was like, find a Star Wars ship and go outside and make it take up your entire neighborhood. You can see it through your phone. And these things are animated. They're flying around your neighborhood. It's like, it's mind-blowing. It's completely immersive. And so one thing I think someone asked in the chat, it takes less time to do that. So it's not like spending more time on your computer. It's a different way of learning that people are used to because, you know, we're growing up with the phone. People are doing games. Kids already know how to do all this stuff. I don't have to explain the apps to them. They open it up and they figure it out. So it's not about time. It's about the way that people are engaged now and the types of learning they do because of having technology that they grow up with. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
yes, it was. I guess I do agree. That's with this kind of technology, and then learning is becoming personalized. So every student have their own choice and their own opportunities for using the apps. Yeah.
And there was another. Do you want me to answer the question about the U.S. legal basis for open and distance education? I can answer that.
Sure.
So there's a question about the U.S. legal basis. So there's a law in the U.S. It's each state has their own laws, and the legal laws in California are that the faculty own the curriculum. So we have OER is a huge. Actually, we have an office of OER in the state, and we are going textbook free in California. I think in 2023 mostly. That includes K-12. And so once you write your resources and you share them, you just they usually pay us a stipend when we're going to share, and then it's open. That's all it is. So we all have worked on different things if we want to be contributors.
Yeah.
And so yeah, curriculum is only allowed to be written by faculty in the college system, and then it's up to us if we want to share. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I think the U.S. The state government already adopted the OER, Open Education Resources, as a.
It's huge. There's a whole office for it. The chancellor's office has it. The whole state is doing it, and then it pretty much wiped out textbooks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
To be honest, when we asked our students to buy textbooks over the last 10 years, like mine never did. They're like, "Oh, I didn't buy it." So I still had to create those anyways.
Yes,
they just didn't buy textbooks. Yeah.
Exactly, because the textbook price is always going up.
Yeah, it's like $150 here in the US dollars for one book, and higher. Yeah, I mean, my students don't. You're dealing with students here that are disadvantaged, and unless the college gives them textbooks money, they're not going to be able to purchase that.
Exactly, that's very good. Yeah. Okay, thank you for the clarifications. And the next, Professor Eko Indrajit from let's see, Nurkalila Fajrini. The technology could facilitate new ways of learning. What do you think that who could curate and validate the wide space of learning content, whether it's credible, it's reliable or not, in the virtual reality as education platform, especially in Indonesia education system? Please give us a more explanation to provide insight into how education systems are responding to by providing the digital transformations, comparative perspective on the condition of teaching and learning in Indonesia right now. It's about quality, Prof. Eko.
Yeah. from what I know right now in several universities, including the Indonesian campuses, they are using the quality assurance for the courses, right?
Right.
But if we look from the educational technology point of view, from the philosophy of the principle of creating a distance education courses, for example, we have what we call as the formative evaluations, correct? Formative evaluation was conducted through several stages. The first one, after you create your instructional materials and all of the strategy for the courses, you have to ask the experts. When you ask the experts, you will involve the instructional designers, you will involve the multimedia expert, you will involve the pedagogy experts, you will involve the evaluator, and also the language experts. After that, you revise your models and you have to test it in a small group, right? Because the one that will know whether they study or not, they enjoy the study or not, or whether the instructional objective was achieved or not, are not the teachers, are not the professors, but the students themselves. So many of the campuses, after they have or they pass the quality assurance, they never try it to the students. In the formative evaluation, you have to try small group students before the big group potential students or the students, candidate students, so that you know that your courses are really credible. We cannot assume that everybody have the same technology as we think. We cannot assume that all of the learners have the homogeneous characteristics. So formative evaluation is a must if you want to develop the the technology-based courses or using the distance education environment. And in Indonesia, answering the number 2, most of the Indonesia do right now is just moving whatever content they have in the physical world into the virtual world or into the LMS, Pak.
Yep.
They don't undergo the proper design for the distance education. Yeah, they don't start from the end. They just move whatever PowerPoint they have and they put it into LMS, and all of the assignment also they just put it in the LMS. They think the students will can learn automatically. It's two different animal. Distance education and the face-to-face education is totally two different ecosystem. You have to start by using different philosophy. You have to start by using different paradigm on learning. And I think Open University of Indonesia is the place to study there, ya Pak?
Yes.
Now the challenge is how to embark the mixed reality environment as one of the channel that Indonesian Open University have to have right now. I believe that in the new type of the courses in the Open Education of Indonesia, you already have several type of modules, ya Pak, ya? Because you want to address all of the possibility of the Indonesian learners' characters, from the people who are who live in the mountain, in the remote area where there is no IT or no technology in place, up to the city where everything is in place. And I think the next one, Pak, by the assistance of Dr. Rosena, for example, you can create the next modules for the AR and VR environment. And I'm not afraid about the AR, VR environment. The student is not well engaged because right now they are playing games without any manual. through the interesting features, the interesting menus, the interesting possibilities, they can, make them well informed and motivate them to explore what is inside. So don't worry. What I worry is the readiness of the professors, the readiness of the lecturers who are not open-minded with this situation. And the last but not least, I just want to have a simple jokes, Pak Daryono. This is the joke. One of the professors complained like this. He said, "Come on, in the face-to-face environment, I found a very difficulty to teach. And now you want to bring them into a nobody land." And then I said to the professor, with all due respect, maybe because we are there, they don't explore.
Yeah.
You know what
I have one comment about that too. I mean,
You're right.
I noticed a generation gap kind of. So students will yell at me if I tell them how to do the application, any application, teaching films, tell them the buttons. They don't like that. They appreciate a recommended workflow. So, I give them a workflow, film something, put it here, edit, give them a workflow, and they'll figure the buttons out. They'll ask me if they have a question. If I have older students, they want to know step by step. Number one, students just yell at me if I tell them to do it that way. So there's a change because we weren't raised with technology. We're used to instructions. Students are like, please don't give me instructions. I don't want those. I don't want the guide. Just just give me a workflow. And so it's very difficult because we're bringing in new technology to faculty, the ones that need instructions. And it's not whether you're smart or not, it's a generational learning type of thing. And now we're bringing in technology that's really geared for younger than the faculty. So it's, I think it's a difficult situation, to be honest, right now.
Yes. Yes, I think, thank you, Prof. Eko Derajat. Yes, you bringing one of the important phenomena. And then Dr. Wasinger as well, about the generation gap. Yes, that's exactly what's the most of the higher educations are facing the challenge in related to the generation gap. One of the importance on the Aeon reality, they can be operated offline. And that's very good for the countries that has is unreliable internet access. And in Indonesia, I would like to recall again, Professor Eko Derajat, the 3 level of the quality assurance that from the course level, program level, and university level. We do have the QA framework on the program and the university level, but has no QA on a course level, Pak Eko Derajat. That's our homework. We need to to develop a toolkits on a QA system on course level online courses. Okay, I think we do have 2 more questions, and the time is approaching. From the ADISTI, I'm a lecturer for the business admission program. I'm interested to. The question is goes to Dr. Wasinger. To apply technology in visualizing international business operation or concept of supply chain operations to my students. How would you suggest the best technology in this sector? If possible, what scheme do you offer for partnership in collaborative research? Dr. Wasinger.
That's a hard question, but so supply chain is huge here. I mean, I live by Los Angeles, and so we have a big change here in the way we are doing trucking. And so in people studying business, they're using augmented reality and virtual reality to understand, the supply chain in terms of IoT devices, tracking trucks and warehouses, time in between trips, to increase the efficiency. And all of those types of concepts can be easily learned in AR with digital twins and models and, understanding how warehouses work, even warehouse safety. And then you combine that with kind of the math around supply chain analysis. So it's not as simple as thinking of it's one model that you take apart and put together, because now we're talking about system technology and supply chain. So it's more about understanding all the components involved, and then the way that you use analytics to work to solve those problems. And so that's how AR is being used in those studies. And then the best technology in the sector, I think, is still combining analytics, artificial intelligence, and augmented reality. I think are the best technologies. The scheme to offer partnerships. So that would be what I've seen a lot of people do is collaborate between different countries that are solving these problems to share. And it's not about software or anything, but share solutions and then how they're going about them, how they're teaching those to students. So I don't know if there's a best scheme. I don't know how to really answer that. I'm not sure how to answer that. Maybe.
Okay.
Professor. Oh yeah. I just want to share my experience with this one because I'm also teaching an information system where all of the learners have to understand the operational of so many industry in the world, but they never involved in those kind of industry. What am I using right now? If you look into the games, in the game sectors, there are several games that are actually conducted based on the real sectors. For example, you can open the games of the Tycoon, Tycoon, Tycoon. That is the game, the series of game. You have an airline tycoon. Inside the airline tycoon, it is all of the business operational of the airline industry. You can use the railway tycoon, the business process of all of the railway industry. Even you can have a theme park, a restaurant tycoon, a hospital tycoon. I'm using those games, to make my learners easier to understand what's happening in the industry. Of course, there's not 100% exact, but it illustrates how the industry works actually. After I play airline tycoon, now I understand what's happening in the airlines industry from the very beginning. Yeah, there's a tycoon. Or the second one is the Sims one, right?
The Sims.
Oh, yeah.
The Sims.
Yeah. Now, for my understanding, Sims is also used by the psychology and sociology program of study. Yeah, and also for the government, they are using SimCity, for example, for a city development
landscape. Yeah.
Yeah, at least you can have those kind of things. For supply chains management, one of the handbook of the supply chain management is coming from the Stanford University. About 20 years ago, Stanford University, in the book, they provide us with the simulation of supply chains, but a very, very simple way, not even a graphicals. I haven't checked those yet now whether they still give us the free graphical of the supply chain operation ecosystem. I will check it. I think they will give it us for free because it is the simulation for us to understand how the supply chain operation works. You can check in the Stanford University. I will try to check it for you, and then I will let you know if I found it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Eko and Rashid. And there is the last questions to Professor Eko and Rashid. You mentioned that critical success factor to digital transformations. What program do you undertake to cultivate these factors in your institutions?
Brainwash
okay.
Brainwash my professors who have an open mind, growth mindset, especially digital mindset. And because I'm the rector of the university, so I have to give examples. So I give the example to them, and I give them rewards for those of them who wants to do the experiments in the classroom. I love experiments. And the first thing I do in my classroom, I take off the blackboard the whiteboard, and even I take off the in focus or the projector. So at least the classical way of teaching, Pak Daryono, they're still using, they're trying to do the same thing. I'm using the 360 degree of the board. Yeah. So I buy the, what you call it, the glass. Yeah. So I cover my wall with the glass. So all of my students come to my university. They bring their own markers. Yeah. Spidol. So 360 degree of my classroom can be used as the whiteboard. Yeah. And I changed the projector with the several TV panels. So one classroom, at least we have 4 to 8 TV panels, so we can have a collaborative system. So my experience is it's very difficult to change the habit of the teachers, of the lecturers. But we can change the design of the classroom so that they have to adopt with the new design of the classroom. It's easier for me to change my professor in the university. Thank you, Pak Daryono.
Thank you, Professor Eko Indrajit. Distinguished speakers and participants, my apology for unable to extend the time because we are approaching the final of the sessions. If the participant, if you still have a question and comment to the speaker, please write down your comment questions to us, and we are going to send to both speakers. To briefly sum up the webinar, we have to be fully cautious with the development of technology and the changing landscape of the higher educations now and beyond. And it becomes necessity for all of the level of educations to enhance student learning outcomes and success without any limitations and restrictions. And this is the most important one, that all of the educational system may encounter different landscape that require major transformations. I would like to ask the closing statement from both of the speakers, 2 or 3 I think 2 or 3 sentences, Dr. Wolsingers and Professor Eko Indrajit. Dr. Wolsingers, please give us a closing statement.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's a great honor. I hope that you got something good out of it. But the main thing is keep up. Changes fast, and learning every day. As teachers, we have the opportunity to learn and keep up. And this is changing whether we want it to or not. So enjoy it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Professor Eko Indrajit, could you please give us your, you still mute, Prof. Eko.
Okay, first, thank you for the opportunity, and also thank you for Dr. Wolsinger for the sharing. I really learned a lot. And maybe I just want to address my generation. And because now, Pak Daryono, we are the one, our generation is the one that will make a decision, right?
Right.
And our decision will be very important. It will determine what happening in the future of our learning. So I just want to say to all of my generation, all the older generation, don't be afraid of the technology. The technology will not replace us, but we will be replaced if we don't use the technology. Thank you.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you of all the speakers, Dr. Wolsingers and Professor Eko Indrajit, distinguished guests, speakers, and participants, because we are reaching to the end of the webinar. As a token of appreciations of the outstanding presenter, please kindly receive the digital certificate from the committee. The first would be given to Dr. Wolsingers.
Wow, thank you so much. This is
please
fantastic.
give applause to Dr. Wolsingers for the. And the second one will be given to Professor Eko Indrajit.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Professor Eko Indrajit.
I received the certificate digitally.
Okay. There is a note from the committee. Please fill out the registration form, all of the participants, for the purpose of the certificate of participant to this webinar. And thank you again, the speaker, the outstanding speakers, and all of the participants for the critical questions and comments. And thank you. We'll see you again in the near future. And I return back to IUP.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Daryono, for leading this really interesting discussion. I myself really enjoyed the discussion session. And thank you very much, Professor Eko and Dr. Rina, for sharing your thoughts, experiences with all of us here. Lots of new brilliant ideas we got today. And we're keen to explore more technology ways in our education. So thank you very much for Professor Eko, Professor Daryono, Dr. Rina. Please give applause, everyone, virtually together. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, nobody loves separation, but we have now come to the end of the program. And before I close the webinar today, there are a few notices I would like to inform to you. So the first thing, the selected questions during the Q&A session will receive small gifts, and our committees will contact you directly. And the second, I would also again remind you all to fill out the feedback form. And an important note for you to remember is there is only 30 minutes for you to complete filling it out. And after that, the form will be closed, so you need to fill out the form as quickly as possible, and the e-certificate will be sent directly to the participants who have registered and present during the webinar and filled out the feedback form. And also, you can access the materials from the speakers through the link, which will be shared by our committees. That's all the information you have to know. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the committees, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation for all your active support and participation. We deeply hope that everyone here could get brighter view on taking relevant strategies that will be implemented in facing the challenges of open and distance education in the digital transformation era from our experts today. We look forward to more participation in the future. So see you for now. See you on the next episode of KSF. Stay safe and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Endrajit. Thank you, Dr.
Dr. Rina, thank you.